Hello and welcome back. I'm Carrie Welch with Wellness Unwritten. Today I thought I would bring you more of an educational video on the art of cocooning. We will get into a bit of a movement practice today as well, but I wanted to talk about cocooning in relation to our autonomic nervous system. So cocooning is simply something that we can use as a tool to help regulate our nervous system or find some kind of equilibrium in our nervous system. So if we're going through life and we're starting to feel very hectic and chaotic and overwhelmed and anxious and stressed and burned out, all of the above, it might be a signal that we are hitting what I like to call a limit, or maybe even surpassing our limitations. So when that happens, sometimes we decide to just keep going and push through all of the overwhelm and the anxiety and the stress. But what that does when we want to, or when we choose to push through it, what that does is actually cause even more stress. And in the long run, we end up having panic attacks, symptoms of PTSD, anxiety that feels very distressing and out of control, instead of just normal anxiety that's a human response. So when we push through these very overwhelming sensations and emotions, we actually make it worse in the long run. It's like pushing something down, and the pressure is going to eventually make it explode. So what cocooning does, and I like to call it cocooning, that's just my way of describing it, because it is like cocooning. So when you think of a cocoon, you think of what a caterpillar creates to protect itself while it goes through the stages of development in order to become an adult, in order to be able to liberate itself and fly. So when it's young, it builds this little, it's made of like a silky texture. It's very soft, very comforting, cozy for the caterpillar, at least I'm assuming, because it is soft. It's like silk. But it's a layer of protection that aids in the nervous system regulation of that little being while it goes through the process it needs to go through. So if we translate that to the human experience and the human nervous system, and I want to say autonomic nervous system because that's very specifically to that part of the nervous system, but what it does is it aids that nervous system into protection. It's like it tells your nervous system that it's time to protect yourself right now. It's time to comfort yourself and create a space where you can recover, where you can heal, where you can overcome some of the distressing symptoms that you're having from burnout or stress. So when you think of cocooning, I want you to think of what pops into your mind personally as cocooning, because everybody is different. And I'm going to show you a couple of ideas for cocooning. And if you've already noticed where I'm seated, so I tend to set up a little spread when I do my videos. Sometimes I'll have this rug. It's a very soft rug, tapping into my sense of touch, the softness and the coziness feeling that I get from it. Right now I have a cloth yoga mat, which is not very slippery or sticky, I should say. It's softer. And so I'm using that. I also have a bolster, and I have my dog next to me. So those are ways that I'm cocooning, simply because it's giving me a sense of safety and it's giving me a sense of comfort, which is not always necessarily having to wrap ourselves up like a cocoon, but it's giving us that same sensation. So it's telling your nervous system that you're safe, that you're protected in some way. But there are other ways to cocoon yourself as well. But the number one thing before you cocoon is to start to pay attention and be mindful of when you're exceeding your limitations or even at your limitations, because that is the signal for you to start taking a break, to start cocooning yourself, taking a rest, making yourself safe, and taking control back a little bit over your life here and over your emotions and sensations. So let me show you a couple things at the end of my day when I work all day, or even if I've had a stressful day, even if it's not work and it's just been a stressful day. What I like to do, and I have a ritual. Sometimes I'll go out to my hammock and I will curl up into my hammock with a book. Of course, not always able to do that, and I'll show you what I do instead if I'm not. But a hammock is actually a literal cocoon. So you just kind of crawl in and you wrap the sides around you. So if I'm unable to take a moment in my hammock, I know as a parent, it's really hard to do that. So if you're a parent and you're watching this video, I understand. But what I'll do instead is I will grab my favorite sweatshirt. And this is my favorite sweatshirt because life really is truly better in the mountains. I believe this. At least for me it is. So this is my sweatshirt. At the end of the day, if I can't take a minute to myself and just go out in my hammock, I will simply put this sweatshirt on and I will put my hood over my head even. Not always, but sometimes if I need a little extra feeling of protection and safety and softness around me, that's going to give me that idea of a cocoon where I feel completely safe. Sometimes it's as simple as putting on a sweatshirt and accompanying the sweatshirt, cozy socks. Cozy socks are amazing because it makes your feet feel protected and soft, and the feet are what hits the ground. Our feet touch the ground, and so they lead us wherever we want to go. So we want to protect them and make them feel safe. It's amazing what these very small things can actually do to your nervous system. So sometimes it's just things we don't even think about that have so much power. So a sweatshirt or socks, maybe at the end of your day, that's how you cocoon. If not a sweatshirt, a sweater. I have another little soft sweater. Maybe it's a texture that you really enjoy, a softness, something comforting, or a blanket. Maybe you just cover up in a blanket on your couch, or wrap a blanket around your shoulders. So this is just a regular little yoga blanket here, and maybe you just simply wrap it around your shoulders just to give yourself a sense of cocooning. Maybe it's a robe. Maybe you have a really cozy robe and you take a shower or a bath, hot bath. Those are other ways of cocooning. Tapping into the art of cocooning is taking a hot bath and submerging yourself in warmth and taking just like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, or a shower, and then you put your cozy robe on. It's just an idea of, this is all an idea of self-care, but it actually does have an effect on your autonomic nervous system. It's communicating to your brain that you're safe. So another thing I like to do, I'm just giving you ideas, but a stocking cap. So whatever, or like a knitted hat or something that covers your ears can also be very relaxing. Maybe it's something you made yourself, like this, with its little pom-pom. But maybe it's something that you're proud of or you made yourself and you want to wear it and protect your ears and your head and feel the softness and texture of that. Maybe it's an eye pillow. Maybe it's all of them combined. You put your sweatshirt on and your cozy socks, and you put an eye pillow over your eyes and you tell your kids, give me 5 minutes. Even if you have to go in the bathroom and lock the door and put your eye pillow on. Maybe that's your cocooning. But the art of cocooning, so creating your own personal cocoon. It might look different from day to day. It might not be the same all the time. But whatever it is, it's something that gives you peace, even for 5 minutes, or gives you a sense of calm, helps to communicate to your brain and your body that you are safe. It's taking a pause, taking a moment to allow yourself to feel whatever it is that you're feeling, and then using that to ground yourself so that you can show up in the ways that you need to show up in your life. Otherwise, the anxiety stays with you. It doesn't go away. When I say anxiety, I mean distressing anxiety. Anxiety is just part of being human, but distressing anxiety, overwhelm, that kind of thing. So with all of that said, I want to bring you just, I've created a couple of somatic yoga sequences that specifically focus on the art of cocooning, or AKA the art of feeling safe and comforted. So I'm going to show you just a couple of postures today. I'm not going to do the full sequence or sequences because I'm putting that into my membership page on my website, but I am going to show you a couple of postures today, and I will also upload a few more another time. But to get the whole sequence, you'll have to check out my membership, which is starting in September. So keep an eye on that. There is a link to my website in the description below, as well as links to descriptions or links to any kind of props that you might want for your yoga practices. So wherever you are and wherever you are coming from, whatever space you have right now that you're able to watch this video, set it up in a way that you're going to have supported. Maybe you have a blanket, maybe you have a yoga mat, maybe you have a bolster or a pillow. And I'm going to try and do this with my dog on my mat. She's usually in her bed, and not today. Not today. Today she's like, I'm just going to hang out right here with you, which is fine with me. So we're going to start in a child's pose today, a supported child's pose. So this means using a bolster or pillow. If you have a bolster and you need a little more lift, maybe you put an extra pillow on top. But we're going to open the knees, sit the tailbone towards the heels, and then take the torso all the way onto the bolster, hands on either side, and then you're turning a cheek to the bolster. And letting your torso just settle in. Maybe the shoulders release. And if you feel relaxed there, start to close the eyes, just very gently, letting the eyes seal. And drawing the breath down into the belly and the rib cage, and allowing more air to fill the space in your body. So breathing in a little deeply. And we're going to take just a few of those deep diaphragmatic breaths, which is deep into the belly and ribs and all the way up into the chest. And then letting it out, letting everything release. If you want to turn it into more of a detox breath, you can open the mouth as you exhale and close the mouth as you inhale. Just a few more of those breaths, and I want you to notice the support you have at this moment, and notice if you want more. So right now you are cocooned in a child's pose, in a supported child's pose, but if you want to cocoon further, think about putting a blanket over you, or pausing the video and putting on a sweatshirt or some cozy socks. paying attention to your needs right now. That is what true self-care is. It's just paying attention to your needs as a human being on this earth. So wherever you are right now, take 2 more full breaths in your supported child's pose. And then when you're ready, on your next inhale, gently pressing the hands into the ground and lifting your torso off of the bolster, we're going to come into a tabletop position. Keep the bolster handy because we are going to end with a supported child's pose. But coming into your tabletop, and what we're going to do here is just lift that left leg back and up, and we're going to find a little bit of balance here, because part of cocooning is also about recognizing balance and equilibrium in the body. So with the left leg up, I want you to reach your right arm forward. Keep your gaze down towards your blanket or mat. Couple of breaths. Almost like you're stretching your new wings before you become a butterfly. On an exhale, bring it back into tabletop. And we're going to switch sides. So right leg reaches out, left arm. And keep the gaze down. Draw the core slightly in. That's going to protect your lower back. Just a couple more breaths. On an exhale, bring it back into tabletop. And we're going to come all the way down onto the belly. So wherever you are on your mat, just extending the legs back and then resting the torso all the way down. Maybe you stack your hands and rest your forehead there. Or another option is to pull the arms in towards your chest and just rest your cheek or forehead down onto the ground. That can give you a sense of closing in towards your body, which is a sense of cocooning. But you can also simply stack your hands and rest your head there. And take 3 full breaths into the ribs here and into the back. Feeling the support of the ground underneath you. And at the end of that 3rd breath, begin to just wiggle the hips from side to side. Maybe the feet are about hip distance apart, and you're just rocking the hips from side to side. Just feeling some movement in the hips. Relaxing in the shoulders. Coming back to center, we're going to lift the feet up to the ceiling and circle out the ankles. Maybe you wiggle the toes. And then you're going to wave the feet from side to side like windshield wipers, or creating figure 8s with your feet in the air. Just playfully. Feeling the support of the ground beneath you. Then extending the legs out again and point the toes and engage your legs here. So pressing the pelvic bone into the ground. Maybe your arms come behind you, palms face down, and you just engage all the muscles in your body. Draw the core in so the belly button lifts off of the mat. Everything is active. Take one more big breath in. As you exhale, relax all the way back down. Release all the muscles. Release your shoulders. Let it go. Take a couple of full breaths into the ribs, into the back. Let it go. On your next inhale, we're going to press very gently back up into our tabletop position, and we're going to come into a child's pose. And this is our final child's pose here. So if you want to use the bolster again and go into that supported child's pose, I want you to think about what is going to help you feel cocooned, supported, safe. So maybe you use an eye pillow and you turn over on your back and you choose that instead and pull your knees in, whatever it works. But if you want to do a child's pose, you can use the bolster. You can wrap up in a blanket. If you don't want to use the bolster, another version of child's pose is just bringing the arms in towards the chest as you come down. Maybe you crisscross the arms, let your forehead rest down, and you just give yourself a self-hug in your child's pose. Another option is bringing the arms together, elbows connect, palms facing up and resting your forehead there. So you have some options here, but find your cocoon, find your child's pose that's going to work for you specifically. And let yourself settle and let your body melt. Let yourself just be. You've worked hard. Now it's time to rest. It's time to cocoon, recover, and heal. Let yourself breathe, breathing in and out, into the belly, into the ribs, into the chest. Let it go. Feel free to stay here longer. Maybe listening to some music that you really like. Thank you so much for joining me with this practice. I hope you gained something from it, and I hope it's something you can implement into your life when you need it. Until next time, namaste.